Hey, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have some other children are coming in, and I appreciate everybody being here. We want to be sensitive to your lunchtime, and we thank you so much for making this occasion possible for our honorees. My name is Fitzhill, and I get the opportunity to work with the Little Rock School District through the Little Rock School District Athletic Foundation and really trying to reemphasize a mentoring program for our what we call Sixth and Goal and Sixth and Volley. And you'll see them walking in. They're coming in right now, and I want you to see them, and many of them coming from situations for field trips today, and we're excited to have them. So they'll be coming in, and they'll be around here because that's what this is about. And I want you to see what you're investing in firsthand. And if we want to create a greater Little Rock, a safer Little Rock, we'll continue to give these young people everything they need on the front end rather than what we have to do on the back end when they don't have the opportunities to be developed. So I appreciate you being here so very much. It means a lot to me to do this, and I thank everybody, my teammates. I couldn't do this without the team. And Steve Sullivan, Sully, is my coordinator. You know, I'm head coach. He gets to call the plays on the master ceremonies for today. And but first, I want to bring up Mr. Renee Julian from First Community Bank, who's the presenting sponsor of this event every year for their investing in the community, for what they'll do to allow us to buy uniforms, helmets. It costs about $225 to outfit a football player. If we have 175, you do the math. And last year we had to pay $8,000 to recondition the helmets to be able to put them back out there. And so that meal that you're eating is for that, and First Community Bank has made that possible. So would you give applause to First Community Bank and Renee Julian?
Thank you all for coming out for this great event. We're proud to be a part of it. As our name implies, we do believe in investing back into our communities. We think it makes for a stronger basis for our bank to grow and be strong. And so we want to give back, especially to the school system. Worked hard with Mike and with others to be a bigger part of it. And so that's our goal, is to strengthen our community and to be a part of the community and to give back to our community because it gives to us. Thanks for all of you for coming, and we're proud to be a part of this event.
Thank you. I will note other cornerstone sponsors for the Athletic Foundation. What you may or may not know, and Mr. Superintendent Poore is coming up. As I stepped down from president of Arkansas Baptist College in 2016, I was appointed to the state board by Governor Hutchinson. And as my son, as you know, went to Little Rock Christian, and I coached his 5th and 6th grade football team. And as a state board member, I was going around to visit the schools, particularly Mapleville, Cloverdale, Henderson. And when I realized, I asked the principal, Ms. Mcgee's here, I said, hey, tell me about your 6th grade football program. He said, well, we don't have one. And I said, you got to be kidding. He said, no, we don't. He said, 10 years ago, the Little Rock School District eliminated 6th grade athletics to save money. And I said, well, I'm going to see as a state board member if I have any influence to do anything about that. If so, to help raise money to do that, which I'll talk more about. But immediately when I met with Superintendent Poore and said, how can I help? I don't want to be a board member that's just signing papers. I'm not that type of guy. How can I get involved and use my coaching expertise in giving down to communities who may not get that level of coaching? And that's why we started this, because of Mike Poore, who gave me the green light to be able to do that, which then we created the Little Rock School District Athletic Foundation. And the cornerstone sponsors that you see up here allows for this to go on and for people to contribute and to make this happen. This takes a whole collective effort of people from Children's Hospital, all right, from physicals, to private doctors to give people physicals who want. But Mike Poore allowed for this to happen, and I work closely beside him to do anything that we can. So Mike hasn't come up, say a word. Let's give a welcome round of applause to Superintendent Mike Poore.
Well, thank you all, and good afternoon. And I want to thank, right off the bat, I want to thank Steve Sullivan for being here again for us and being our MC, because that's a big deal that he invests in Little Rock School District. And he put a plug out last night on TV, and I appreciated that, and this morning as well. I'm going to give just a few thank yous and then give a little context. I want to thank John Daniels and Fitz Hill first, because those two guys, more than anyone else, has helped us shape and move our athletic program. And just to put in context what that really represents is that it was not, when I first arrived here, we didn't have one gym, not one gym that had air conditioning. Not one gym in this school district. We had not one place where we had an all-weather football, or all-weather track, excuse me. We had one place where it was a field that had all-weather turf, and that was at Central, and it was in bad shape and needed to be replaced. We had situations where our coaches were not getting paid appropriately at the head coaches level because they just weren't getting the days that they were putting in. And we did not have programs set up for the young folks. And the efforts of John Daniels and Fitz Hill, I really, really appreciate. But go a little bit further, our athletic foundation, and I know these folks are mentioned in the program, but Terry Stotts, who helps really organize and create this. She's in the back there. Terry, if you'll wave, because she's done such a great job. She's talking to Jay Gadberry, so now she's a no-hoper. But we got Terry Stotts and also Bill Ingram, Jay Gadberry, and Dr. Tillman, who've been a part of our foundation. I appreciate you all. My team, I want to thank them. You know, Darian Smith, many of you may not know Darian, but Darian's the same type of concept, same attitude as an elementary principal. For years, held basketball for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders at Mableville Middle School so the kids could get their start in basketball with the same concept we're talking about with 6th grade football. Then he added on volleyball. And guess what? Combination of those two things, those two sports are off and running. Randy Rutherford and Keith Mcgee are two of my key team members. And each day, every day, we meet in the morning. And I guarantee athletics is always a part of the conversation because it should be. Because athletics is really important to our kids, it's important to our school culture, and it actually creates investment by community members and brings kids into this district. I want to say that one of the other big things that got accomplished besides facilities is the hiring of coaches. And I can remember the first time that I came in the district and I told them I wanted to be a part of every principal interview and assistant principal, and people were looking at me and I said, that's not it, hold on. I want to be a part of every interview for a head coach for football and basketball because it's important. And when I did that, I'm proud. I'm really proud that we have people like Brad Bolding, Brian Ross, Scotty Thurman, Daryl Patton, Chris Threet, Coach Johnson, and Coach Withrow that we've got to hire as head coaches while I've been here in their spots. Because those are the people that make a difference in terms of not only what's happening in our high school, but even within our young people. And I thank each of them for taking the chance to come to Little Rock School District and be a part of this because guess what? Everything's different now in Little Rock. We have people that are getting D1 scholarships in Little Rock in football. We have track athletes that are competing at the highest level, and all those things are going because of our coaches and the gentleman that I mentioned earlier. I also want to thank our principals and all of our assistant coaches are here today too. We have a phrase that we use in Little Rock that I hope never goes away, and I'm excited that Dr. Wright is already starting to use it. It's called the power of us. And in this room alone right now, we have a tremendous amount of power of what we can do to go invest in young people. This lunch is one thing, and it's an important one thing, but there's so much more that can be done to invest in the Little Rock school system, invest in our athletic program, and go making a difference for kids. Probably stealing something that Fitz wanted to bring up, but now I believe for 2 or 3 years, when we've ran 6th and goal football, during that span of time, when that season's in place, we don't have one suspension of those athletes. Not one suspension while that activity's going on. What's that say? It just says if you invest in kids, engage with kids, and get positive role models in front of them, trouble does not happen to them, and then trouble doesn't happen out in our community. That's what 6th and Goal is about. That's what an athletic program can do, and we can never lose sight of that. We also can't forget about another phrase that I love which is ONEROCK. And that's what's represented on the trophies that our honorees are going to get here in just a minute. And they're beautiful trophies that I'm proud to say, I'll put those trophies up against anybody. And they're so deserving because these are legends. They are legends in our city and in our school system. And it's so awesome that we get to honor them today, just like our previous classes. All this started with a think tank that included people like Keith Jackson, a think tank that included people like Mcgee Harris, a think tank that included many of the board members that I previously mentioned. It included our Commissioner of Education, Johnny Key. It included Lance Taylor. Why? All these folks came together because Little Rock is important. It's important right here in this city for what its economic development will be. It's important for what our state is. And most importantly, our kids deserve every bit of attention and effort and financial support we can provide them. And Little Rock does need to be one rock as a mentality. It can't stop. So the things that I would ask of all of you is, please continue to be a part of this. I'm going to be a part of this community. You guys are not done with the ball guy in any kind of way, okay? I'm going to continue to be a part of what's going on, and I'm hoping that I'm still getting calls from head coaches. I'm hoping I'm still getting calls from community members saying, how about, what if, could we, should we? And I hope I'll always be a person that will step up to be a part of this school system, this set of wonderful community members. Thank you so much, and thank you for the honor to allow me to be the superintendent of schools for the Little Rock School System. Thanks.
It's been an honor and a privilege, and to make first downs is what he mentioned with the Little Rock School District in partnership with the Little Rock School District Athletic Foundation. We're workers as teammates to invest in young people, and have an opportunity to do that and work with Coach Daniels, John Daniels. I'm going to ask him to come up and share a little bit before we break bread.
Thank you, Dr. Hill. Thank all of you for being here. Obviously, the energy you bring in the room and what we see out is obvious, a display of what we're trying to portray in our programs and what we're trying to give back to our kids on a daily basis. I want to say thank you to everybody here at the table that left a legacy in Little Rock School District, those people that are providing, that I work with and for, the coaches in this room, the people that just give daily that make sure that we continue to operate effectively. I always say that in business that when you have an issue, a lot of times you try to skip around those issues. Great companies always find out what their elephant is, and they bring that elephant and they set it right up here and they say, this is our problem. You know, from day one when I sat down with Mr. Poore, he probably got angry, but I brought that elephant in there and I said, these are our problems as I see it, and we got to fix these things. And for the first time, I had somebody that listened to me. You know, he didn't dismiss what I had to say. Now, it might have taken him a while to read through that envelope I handed him, but he listened, and he didn't always like my ideas. And I can tell you, he's probably butted heads with me more than anybody, but I always tell him he needs somebody different than him because else he wouldn't need me. So, but I want to thank him, honestly, because he's given me an opportunity to help us grow as a district. We've just begun to scratch the surface of what we can do. We're not even close to where we want to be. So, no, you're not going anywhere, Mr. Poore. Yes, you're moving away a little bit, but your ideas are going to continue to be of value to us, and we're going to continue to create champions and kids. And we want to say that the 6 and Goal program is unbelievable. The numbers speak for themselves. Anytime our 6 and Goal football programs and our 6 and volley, 6 and spike programs and volleyball are going, our 7th grade programs grow, our 8th grade programs grow. We took a hit when we got hit by COVID, but guess what? We're out of that now, and we're starting to grow again, and we're seeing those numbers come back up. So I'm not going to take any more time. I just want to say thank you all for coming back. I coached at Hall, and you used to be a receiver. We couldn't stop you, and I was sick of you. I'm glad to see you're back, though. John Kelly is a legacy and a mentor to me. He started. I'm going to be quick. He started coaching the year I was born. I'm 58, by the way. So that is no lie. 1964, he started coaching. So these guys they're unbelievable. So take time today. James Rouse has always been a hero. I thought he was the greatest running back out of Arkansas ever. I don't know Lindsey, but I'm looking forward to get to know more about her. Thank you guys for being here, and enjoy your lunch.
Also, before I bless the food and we're going to start our serving, I want to also mention our team to getting things done with the Little Rock School District. With his team is Coach Eric Jackson, who, when you see the helmets, you see the balls, you see the things that I always call on Eric, and he's always with me on Saturday. And to make sure things happen. And before I bless the food, I'm just going to give you this nugget of what we ask our coaches to do, which I'm going to talk about them while we're eating, but I want to get the food served so we can remember. I ask for 6th and goal coaches, mentors, that's why it's called Model Up, to do 3 things, only 3 things when I meet with them, when we text together. That's number 1, practice with the guys twice a week, a minimum of 2 times a week, meet with them after school. We call that positive touches. Secondly, have lunch. We'll do the background check. Have lunch with the young men once a week. Go there and become the positive role model that many of them never have, and sit down at the lunch table and help the principal and be an advocate of the student if the principal need. And the third thing is be with them on Saturday morning from picking them up on bus until we drop them off. We feed them breakfast on Saturday, breakfast bars. Our church takes care of all those type of things. We want to do everything that we can to do that. That's the reason those numbers Mr. Poor speak to are 0. You know what happens when we don't have that, and why I hope when in another year that this is integrated back into the Little Rock School District budget? Because then discipline referrals go from 0 to almost 40 to 50%. Then suspension goes, and upkeep goes out in the school. Then we go arrest them, and then we go start paying for them that way. It's not rocket science. It's real easy. It's real easy. Then we start having to give them things that they don't want in places they don't want to be. Well, I'll tell you what. You know what I did? That's what I brought. Because I wanted to challenge you. It's time to get in the game, baby. Time to make a difference and quit reading about these things going on out there and say, we're going to change it. This is an infrastructure for that change. And with that, please bow your head. God, we thank you for this assembly today to be a blessing to those who may not ordinarily get the blessings. We just thank you for this food. We thank First Community Bank for supporting this so that we could bless our children who maybe this is the first time they've had an opportunity to come and be a part of something, to expose them to something they've never been exposed to. It said that once the brain is stretched, it never gains its original dimension. And we just pray that this event today will stretch people's brains, God, to let people understand that the investment helps us to be able to bless other people. God, we just thank you for the opportunity to bless this food in this environment. In your name we pray. Amen. Food will be served. You can visit around. We got a little video it's going to show you, but then we'll be right back here in about 10 or 15 minutes because I promise you I'm ready to say game over at 12:55. I'm not going to eat. Also, while they're going, I just want to let you know if anybody you want to share this information with, the live streaming is taking place on LRSD YouTube. This is being live streamed on LRSD YouTube at www.lrsdlive.com. That's live. Pam said we're live streaming at www.lrsdlive.com on the YouTube channel for the Little Rock School District if you want to share that link with anybody. Hey, we're getting ready to, while we're doing that, we're going to show a video, and I want you all to be able to watch this video on the Sixth and Goal program that it gives you a little bit. But before I move into the video, I wanted to share one other thing with you all as an audience, what a program that we saw great return on, and that's with our partnership with the Pulaski County Sheriff Office, where they basically adopted Cloverdale School. We're talking about the numbers, and Sheriff Eric Higgins. Sheriff, you're in the house? Sheriff Eric Higgins, I want to give him a round of applause for Sheriff Higgins. Sheriff Higgins gave his whole entire team, believe it or not, they had, in the championship game, they had a Pulaski County Sheriff escort from Cloverdale, like they were going to the Super Bowl, from Cloverdale to Scott Field to the Super Bowl, and the kids were so excited to hear the sirens for a positive reason that they were coming to the game, and it was really something that just moved me. So here's a Sixth and Goal program that was that gives you a whole picture that was produced by ATM Production, and if you would, it's only like 5 minutes. If you watch that, and then you can finish up your meal. We'll go ahead, Roger, and run the program.
Coach getting them mentally ready.
Let's get fired up! Let's get fired up! Let's get fired up!
The vision mission of the Sixth and Goal program is to retain students through mentorship and through involvement, extracurricular activities. There's research over and over and over, through and through, that shows that when kids are involved in extracurricular activities, they retain better, they graduate, they do all those things. So the studies indicate that by having this program, we will be able to improve graduation rates and keep kids in school.
Athletics is, to me, is interrelated with academics. The two go together. The more kids that we get participating in athletics, the more that we can keep our hands on a daily basis and keep those kids moving in the right direction.
Our whole team, they got tired of losing. We've had people quit before, but we've gained people. It's like a miracle because we lost a person, then we gained one, and then we ended up making it to the championship because we practiced enough and it worked.
Way to go, Jackson!
It teaches responsibility, it's sportsmanship, teaches them drive and passion for the game that can follow them for the rest of their life.
He learned how to, deal with his anger when he's on the field. That's the best thing about it. And I think it makes him happy because, everybody's like, let's go, Kavon, let's go, Henderson. They like to see, I guess, get the extra love.
the beauty of this is that middle school is a critical age, and so having that extra level of support is critical. And whether that's with our football or our volleyball, we're about ready to start wrestling, all those things are going to have a positive impact.
Most of the people that you'll see here today are non-paid volunteers, and they come out to put our kids first and to let our kids know that we care about them, we love them. We want to steer them, we want to feed them, we want to transport them, we want to take down every barrier that they may have in the inner city youth so that we can get them involved somehow, some way, and keep them involved in athletics.
You don't know what they're going home to many times. We need to be that light in their life that can say, hey, I can do this, I can be this. And football is one sport that taught me that, and I want to make sure they get the opportunity to do that as well.
Give a round of applause for AETN for that video. And what I do have, and I'm happy to say, was the first time this year we have in attendance with us our Cloverdale champions, 6th and goal champions, and they were the first time other than Pulaski Heights to win it. And so I want Coach Montez Peterson, it was something for Cloverdale. It changed. I mean, for Cloverdale Mapleville. Yeah, Mapleville and Cloverdale played in the championships, and Coach Montez, Coach Brian Miller, that was Mapleville, and Cloverdale, I get a mix, but both of them played in the championship. It was the first time that two Southwest middle schools played for the championship since we started 6th and goal in 2017, and I want to give it up with Coach Montez. Would you have your Mapleville ready to stand up so we can give them a round of applause? And now all of our 6th and goal participants back there in the back from all our high schools, from all of our participation. I was out of town for the championship game of the volleyball, but I tell you, as Coach Daniels can tell you, as his daughter now is playing volleyball, what that league has meant to us, and now our volleyball program is just doing superb. With all of our 6th and goal participants in the room today, please stand. I want to acknowledge our kids in a positive way. Everybody, coaches and all, please stand. See, I already see the next James Rouse and Jamal Anderson out there. They already in the prime time. And you see this picture up here? You know how ironic of this picture with Coach Kelly? Now, I think that's James, isn't it? So now he modeling James right there, right there. See, that's a process. I thought when they sent me that, I said, man, God is good. He gives me the man. He's modeling and mentoring him there, and then he sent him on to the NFL. Without Coach Kelly, though, you never know what was going on in James's head. I had him at the University of Arkansas. I knew a full-time deal now. I'm saying, no, he's a role model student athlete all the time. But that's what 6th and goal is all about. So I just want to share that with you. Coach, who won the volleyball? Tell me who won the championship in the volleyball, because I missed that last. What high school? What middle school? Pinnacle View. Let's give it up for Pinnacle View. Y'all please stand. Pinnacle View, 6th and volley. Y'all please stand. So I just want to let you know, that's why you're here, and next time we come back, we'll be introducing Steve Sullivan, and we'll get this food out the way so we can get you back to your job. Thank you so very much. All right, all right, all right. Here's what you came for. And it is, I said I want to start at 12:15, so it's the game time. So if we go into overtime, it's not my fault. So I just want to, so I don't let you know. Don't you know? I'm gonna do like this. You know how they say, point to somebody else. You know, I'm gonna point away. Hey, but as I told you guys, every year that we get ready to do this, there's nobody who knows Little Rock athletics better than my friend Coach Sully. That's what I call it, Coach Sully. He's just love talking to him and hearing his, his comments during games, and it's just always good to hear. But more than that, I value his friendship, and we talk to him every year about who does he think should be into the ONEROCK Legend Hall of Fame based on his knowledge of Little Rock athletics. And so he is really an honorary board member when it comes down to this, because we value his experience in Little Rock and his expertise in selecting great athletes, and because he's seen them. So with no further ado, I don't need an introduction to him. We see him and listen to him every night. But we're so grateful to have him here, a part of this event. He was the first person I thought of to do it, and he's made his schedule to be it, whether evening or lunch. So you give a Channel 7 round of applause to my man, Coach Sully.
One of my favorite guys right there. You talk about the 6th and Goal program. He's out there every Saturday. He's out there after games, and he's out there when you wouldn't want to be there, when you got an angry parent who sits and listens. And what a great man right here. He's so passionate that I love it. All right, came to Little Rock in 1985. One thing that hasn't changed since 1985, the best athletes come from Metro Little Rock. James Rouse, Lindsey Davis, Jamal Anderson, see Keith Jackson, Bobby Portis, Cedric Cobbs. I could go on and on. Derek Fisher. They don't come from Valonia or Jonesboro or Batesville. It's still true. The best athletes come from here. And I want you, 2 names I'm going to throw at you to watch out in the future. Got the Central High table over there. Got a junior named Honor Boateng. Not a better example of a student athlete than Honor Boateng. And he looks about 21 years old, and he's going to be a junior. He is legit, right, Coach? Okay, just wondering. Then there's a football player over at Parkview. He's going to be a sophomore, Omarion Robinson. Watched him in his first high school game as a freshman last year. In his first 2 touches, he scored touchdowns. And he's not a running back. He's a cornerback. He intercepted 2 passes in the first half and took them back for touchdowns. So another name to watch, Omarion Robinson over at Little Rock Parkview. All right, we start with our ONEROCK Hall of Famers. So excited. It's like a blast from the past when I see Jamal Anderson. But I never did a story, or we never did around Little Rock, a story on just Jamal. It was always him and his buddy Mark Winston. And they played all the sports back then. They played football, they played basketball, they ran track. And truth be told, Mark Winston was actually the more valued, higher recruit than Jamal Anderson. He was like a 2-star wide receiver at Parkview. I know Keith Jackson is here. I do want to say that, I don't know where Keith is. If Keith could stand up. Jamal broke your receiving record. You're well aware of that at Little Rock Parkview. All right, he went to the University of Arkansas, and Houston Nutt will tell you, out of all the recruiting trips he's had as a head coach, nothing was better than his visit to the Anderson house. Think about this. Houston Nutt grew up with deaf parents. Jamal's dad is deaf. They were so excited, it was like home, that they could go into Jamal's home and actually use sign language. And said his dad was so excited to participate in the recruiting process, and they knew when they left that house that Jamal Anderson was going to go to the University of Arkansas. And he is one of the greatest success stories. Think about this, a 2-star wide receiver. Got off to a slow start in Fayetteville, a lot of guys do. As a sophomore, they decide, he's a tall guy, he's hyper athletic, doing a great job in the weight room. We're going to move him to defensive end. Well, how'd it work out? 17.54 sacks in his time at Arkansas. Also recorded 130 tackles, including 84 solos, 35 quarterback hurries, 8 pass deflections, and 20 starts. First team All-SEC, honorable mention All-American as a junior, and he left after his junior year. And he didn't just get drafted. And listen to his pre-draft numbers. He comes in at like 6'6", what about 215? Soaking wet. His pre-draft numbers, 6'6", 279 pounds. Think of the work this young man did to get in that kind of shape. And Houston Nutt said it took a special person, a guy that was totally dedicated, a good kid, to put on good weight and have that drive. And he said one thing that, separated Jamal from the rest of the guys was that motor, and he could go. And think about this. A year and a half at defensive end, he waits 1 hour on draft day and gets drafted 8th by the Atlanta Falcons. Unfortunately, injuries cut short his pro career. October 12, 2008, he did record his first NFL sack, and I think it was a few years later, he's playing for the Colts. He actually scored a touchdown when Ben Roethlisberger fumbled, so he has that in his feather in his cap. He started 15 games for the Falcons and played in 77 games in his NFL career, and today he comes full circle. He's back in Little Rock to be honored as a ONEROCK Hall of Famer, and he still looks like he can play. Let's hear it for Jamal Anderson.
Thank you for that introduction, Steve. I want to thank everybody on the board for inducting me in this special group of people. Thank you to be up here with the other inductees as well. It is truly an honor. You took a lot out of my speech already, but I'm going to try to see if I can get through to it anyway. So I grew up in Twin Lakes, right across the street from Parkview High School. And literally, Parkview High School, that football field, is what molded me into the man who I am today. That's where I began my journey. Like Steve said, I grew up a CODA, child of a deaf adult. It really wasn't any different than any other household growing up. I had a great father figure who, I have a great father figure. And I contribute him to giving me the athletic ability to what I have today. He played at Gallaudet University, played basketball, ran track, and I think everybody thought that I was going to be a basketball player growing up. We spent a lot of time, me and my father, at Arkansas School for the Deaf, working on basketball drills, really developing myself into the athlete that I am. And I am forever grateful for the amount of time that he put in with me. He had a job, but he still made time out for me, and I'm truly thankful for that. So again, like I said, I was projected to be a basketball player growing up. I did play football when I was young at Oak Grove, where Bill Winston was the coach there. But I think everybody assumed that basketball was going to be my passion. Once I got to Pulaski Heights Middle School, 7th grade, I was moved over to a center in football, and I did not like it at all. So literally going into my 8th grade year, I thought that was going to be my last year playing football. Talked to my dad after camp, and I said, I think I'm ready to quit. And he said, you know what, let's just finish this year out, see what happens, and we'll go from there. So literally a week before our first game, Coach Knight brought out the first team defense, and he needed a scout offense out there. And he asked me, he said, look, you're going to be on the starting defense. Just go out there and give these guys a look on the scout team. I said, sure. Well, I'm going to line up wherever I want to. And he was just like, yeah, that's fine. So lined up at receiver, 3 catches, 3 touchdowns. And at that moment is when I fell in love with football. I literally dedicated so much time to it. Growing up, being able to watch Randy Moss, Chris Carter, the University of Florida, where I thought that's where I wanted to go, but it didn't happen that way. And I became so passionate about that sport. I remember there were high schools that were coming to, I won't say recruit, but just to showcase what they were doing at the next level. And I remember Coach Mcgee coming up there. He was the head coach of Parkview at the time, and he talked about the spread offense that he was going to run. And I looked forward to becoming a part of that program. So myself, like Steve mentioned, Mark Winston, we all decided Parkview was going to be the place that where we went. Ended up going to Parkview, spread offense. I thought it was a great success for us, even though every year while I was there at Parkview, we went 3-7. Even going into my senior year, I want to say we started off 2-1, and I thought this was going to be the change, 3-7. But it was okay, right? Parkview, they're known for the basketball program. Coach Flanagan has done an amazing job there. Scotty Thurman's there now coaching. We had so much success on our basketball program there, but I always had a lot of concern about that football program. I remember going to basketball tryouts and seeing that there were more players trying out for our basketball team than there was on our football team. My senior year, I want to say we had 27 players on our team, but we made it work. And there was always this itch that I had to really want to put Parkview on the map. I really want this to become a football school. So, again, I had success there playing receiver. I loved it. But recruiting-wise, there weren't too many opportunities for me. Wanted to clarify one thing for you, Steve. I was a walk-on at Arkansas. That was my only offer. Florida came in. They didn't give me an offer. Ole Miss didn't give me an offer. This was the only opportunity that I had. But like you said, when Houston Nutt walked into our house, it was home away from home. I already had a relationship with him, with his father being deaf, ties to Arkansas School to the Deaf. This was the first time that my mom didn't have to interpret for a coach, and it felt like home. So after he gave us his recruiting spiel, before he could walk out the door, I said, look, I'm coming there. And it was one of the best decisions that I could have made. So we get up there to Fayetteville. Feels like home away from home. So many guys that are from Little Rock, most importantly from the Little Rock School District that was up there. And I was told I was going to be a receiver. Day one, I walk in and we have our team meeting, and they ask for players to introduce themselves. And there were some rumblings that I was being moved to defensive end. I didn't want to listen to it, though. And when we introduced ourselves in the team meeting room, I said, my name is Jamal Anderson, went to Little Rock Parkview, and I don't know what position I play. And literally that day, they moved me to a defensive end. My freshman year, I was number 82. I had low-top football cleats. I had a little Jerry Rice face mask. I just knew I was going to be a receiver. But obviously, these guys saw something in me that I couldn't even see in myself. I remember calling my mom, telling her, I don't think this is where I need to be. I'm a receiver. And my mom just told me to trust the process. So I did that, was able to play as a walk-on, true freshman, defensive end in the SEC. And I remember going up against guys like Vince Young and Cedric Benson. And I remember there was one play in particular where I fell on somebody's shoe and got the wind knocked out of me. And I was just like, oh, God, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, right? But I put in the work. The weight was able to come on. And within 2 years, I became a starter, and that story was told. I never thought that this was going to manifest. All I knew what to do was put in the work. I'm going to go back a little bit as well. Leading into that recruiting trail, I had decided my junior year that I didn't want to play AAU basketball. And I told everybody except my dad, I told him last that I didn't want to play. And he was very upset at me. One, for telling him lies, but two, he thought basketball was what was going to be my calling. But I knew football was what I wanted to do. So that summer of 2003, I spent so much time up there at Parkview, running routes out there on the field, running around the track. One of my best friends who is here, who was my best man in my wedding, Will LaFear, he was my quarterback. He was a quarterback at North Little Rock, and we spent a lot of time on that field really developing a tenacity, an accountability for one another, the opportunity to push yourself when nobody else was looking. And that summer of 03 was really what helped mold me into the person who I became today. So, like I said, my father, he was upset about the situation, thought I wasn't going to just focus like I needed to, but he saw the amount of time that I put in, working out 3 times a day, eating right, and within due time, he eventually came to me and said, I respect the heck out of you and how much you've worked this summer, and whatever happens your way, I wish nothing but the best. So, like I said, fast forward, the recruiting process doesn't go well. I get to Arkansas, and even through the recruiting process, I want to thank Coach Rip, who obviously isn't here with us, the amount of times that he was bringing us on the park bus up there to Fayetteville to meet with Coach Nutt, to go to the football games. I was very appreciative of that as well. Well, like I said, Fayetteville was a home away from home. We had so many guys there from the Little Rock School District, so many guys just from the Little Rock area. And by the time we got to my junior year, we had 4 defensive linemen, all starters, all from Little Rock Public Schools. Myself, Little Rock Parkview, Antoine Robinson, Little Rock Central, Keith Jackson Jr., Little Rock McClellan, and then finally Marcus Harrison, Little Rock Mills. And I thought that was just one of the most amazing achievements that we've ever had up there at the University of Arkansas. And Steve, we need to do a story on that, right? Because I don't think you're going to see anything happen like that again. I hope we do, but to be represented up there meant so much, and we took great pride every time we came back down here and played at War Memorial because we were back at home. It was home away from home, and we wanted to do everything we could to put not only Little Rock, but the state of Arkansas on the map. And I'm truly thankful for all those guys that I got a chance to play with. Last, I just want to make sure that I give some thanks out. I'm thankful, again, Coach Mcgee, Coach Hardman, Coach Flanagan, Coach Burks, all those that were there at Parkview to help push me and mold me to who I am today. Thankful for all the guys at Pulaski Heights, Stan Williams, Coach Knight, Keith Richardson, all those guys that helped me out as well. And most importantly, Keith Jackson, thank you for being a mentor for me. All right, like Steve said, I brag about it all the time, breaking your records, but it was more that I was thankful to be able to fill shoes in such a great person. So thank you for always being there for me. We've been there through ups, downs, right? When Gary passed, which was our agent, right? That was a time that we got a chance to really become close as well. So I'm really thankful for him and the amount of mentorship that he did while I was in the NFL and still does to this day. Such an honor. I'm thankful. And again, thank you guys for this opportunity.
Get to learn a lot there that I didn't know. This next woman has an incredible story. We should be here saying that she was, and she played with Sidney Moncrief, played at the same time, that she was the female equivalent of Sidney Moncrief, a 4-sport star at Hall, just had all these records, but that'd be changing history because she didn't get to play high school sports, Lindsey Davis. Hard to believe, but at that time, all of her elders said the only time that the girls got to participate was during basketball timeouts and come as cheerleaders and dance during the timeouts, and that was it. And she carved out an incredible career, thanks in part to Dad was a major league player, and he also had a passion for diving. And he must have been a pretty good teacher, or you were just an incredible athlete, because she became an incredible diver. Somehow, without Hall having a diving team, she won all the diving championships for 4 straight years. Then she caught the eye of the University of Arkansas, and she made history there. First woman to earn an athletics scholarship at the University of Arkansas. How about that? And she didn't deserve this. Think about this. In high school, you get that door closed where you can't compete in high school sports. You zip ahead, and your dream is to compete in the Olympics as a diver, but that window is just a small window. 1980, remember the Olympic boycott? She was on her way, Lindsey, to qualifying for the diving team. So then she turned her passion into coaching, and the story here is we could be honoring her just for her coaching. And this award couldn't come on a better day, because I never root for Northwest Arkansas schools. But tonight I might make an exception, because Lindsey, who coaches the Bentonville softball team, will be playing for a state title tonight when they take on Cabot. How about that? She began teaching and coaching in Bentonville in 1979, 3 state titles in golf, 4 in softball. She has over 400 wins. Talked to her athletic director, and he said far beyond the wins, it's her passion for teaching and helping young women and men that has been her greatest accomplishment. And I knew none of her story before, Fitz told me she was part of the class, but so deserving. Please welcome ONEROCK Hall of Famer, and for one night, go Tigers, Lindsey Davis.
I'm going to let them roll a quick video just to be able to tell you who I am. It was done by Sport and Story about 5 years ago, probably. And then I'm going to say my quick thank yous.
Today, women's collegiate athletics is a big business. Television contracts, national exposure, and revenue pouring into college campuses. But it had to start somewhere.
This is Spirit 52, recapturing the real spirit of high school sports in Arkansas. Presented by Gatorade and First Security Bank, inspiring us all to what's possible.
Nobody cares until they have a daughter. And then once you have a daughter, you realize how important this is.
At Little Rock Hall, I was a cheerleader. We didn't play sports except for outside of school. It just wasn't there. I came up to the University of Arkansas on a diving, actually scholarship, we'll call it, first scholarship. I was AAU diving on the side, and I had a coach that encouraged me and got me to go up to the U of A. And then it was, well, we're going to give you so much for the tuition, and at that time the tuition was just $200. I had my heart set on coming up the hill anyway, so I just said that's an added bonus.
I knew that she went to the U of A for a dive, but I had no idea that she was the first scholarship there.
That's something that I would be bragging about and telling my students, but knowing that how humble she is about it just makes her more of an inspiration.
I know deep down inside, yes, she's proud of herself, and she should be, because that's an opportunity that no one got until she did.
After college, Davis qualified to compete in the 1979 U.S. Olympic swimming and diving trials and a chance to participate in the 1980 Summer Olympics in Moscow.
And I have notified the Olympic Committee that with Soviet invading forces in Afghanistan, neither the American people nor I will support sending an Olympic team to Moscow.
Like I said, the Olympics that's my dream. It was unfortunate that we had to use politics to solve that issue when they went into Afghanistan.
The Olympics is like everyone's goal as an athlete is to that's big time.
Any athlete, I think, in that situation there's no doubt that they wouldn't be sad.
There's a fire inside of me that's kept me going all these years because of that. I tell these girls, in life you're going to have ups and downs, and through athletics you find ways to deal with things like that. And that's what the education degree did for me. I was able to teach and coach.
For more than 25 years, Davis has inspired her students in the classroom and on the playing field.
I had the opportunity with Coach Early when he first came in. He got talking about being the new softball coach, and he said, but I'm going to have to find an assistant. So I looked at him and I said, well, here I am. And from then on, we've been together coaching both sports.
She's always been there for us, such a great leader. He always gives the best advice. If you follow that, you'll be able to excel in whatever you're doing.
Her heart is with helping others be successful. And that's the greatest quality of a ball coach, when you want to see other people succeed, trying to help others win their success and make a name for themselves.
It wasn't about me, but it's about these girls and the opportunities they're getting now. I've set my sights at teaching these girls how to become professional athletic women.
Last year, Davis coached Bentonville to their first state championship in girls golf, adding yet another achievement to her pioneering career.
My coach led the way to women's athletics at the University of Arkansas, and so we need to put what we can into athletics also.
Just knowing that I have somebody that back up here that will always support me through anything that I choose to do is something that I'll take away and keep for a really long time.
Well, I'm the first, I won't be the last. I don't mind laying the groundwork as long as someone will pick it up and go with it.
It's crazy to think that Coach Davis was the first to do that, and now we're following in her footsteps.
I hope you enjoyed this week's story.
Thank you. It's a great honor to be among you today and to be included in the ONEROCK Legends Hall of Fame and to share this recognition with others in my life. First, I would like to credit my mother and father. My father grew up on the south side of Chicago, and he sold peanuts at Comiskey Park and then finally got to pitch there for the Chicago White Sox. My mom grew up in Greenbrier, Arkansas. She was offered to play with the All-American Redheads basketball team. She ended up turning that down and going to Memphis to model, and went on to be Mrs. Wisconsin in the future. So I appreciate the good genes that they passed on to me. A thank you goes to the Little Rock School District, where I attended and was bused to Booker Junior High and Senior High Little Rock Hall. Sorry about that, Parkview. These were my formative years where I began my athletic pursuits and made many friends. I would like to credit my athletic scholarship and time at the University of Arkansas, where I was privileged to be trained by diving coach Mike Bailey. His skills and support were key to my qualifying for Olympic diving trials. Coach Bailey, thank you for being here today. Please stand up. I'm eternally grateful to you. A shout out goes to Bentonville School's athletic program, including their leadership, coaches, and directors for providing me a career opportunity in athletics at a great school, Bentonville High School. In the years I have coached, the girls' softball and golf teams have together taken home 7 state championships, 7 rings. And of course, I could not have done this at Bentonville without the loving support of my family. My husband, Donnie, my 2 sons, Joseph and Cody, as well as my 2 sisters, Allison and Paget, and Linda and Bud, my sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and Mark Britton, brother-in-law. All Arkansas residents and big Arkansas sports fans. In closing, I would like to recognize Bentonville's great young lady athletes who have worked so hard at their sports. as well as their parents who have provided great support to me and to them. At 7 p.m. tonight, my Bentonville High School softball team faces Cabot in the finals of the 6A state championships. Please give them a hand to cheer them on. I love you, Warriors. I love you, Razorbacks. And I love you, Tigers. I love you, Little Rock. Thank you so much.
We've had some great coaches in the district, and John Kelly has seen them all. Think about this. Any job you think you've been in it for a long time, he's influenced lives as an educator in the Little Rock School District for 60 years. If I stay that long, I'll be calling your grandson's games, right? He's all over Instagram. He's got the next great player here coming up. Started out as the head football coach and track coach at Dunbar Junior High in 1970. 9 years later, John Kelly was named Parkview's head football coach. How many of his Patriots stand up and be loud and proud, including you, Mr. Rouse? Let's see, Anthony Chambers, Keith Jackson. Look at that. All three of those guys could still play today. They transcend their time. I said they could have played if they were like they were, 30 years ago. He won 2 conference championships, and they will go down as I think, best team in Little Rock and Arkansas to not win a state title. They could have played Fort Smith Southside 100 times and won 99 times, but on that day, the best team in Arkansas lost. Parkview lost in the championship game. They were 12-1. There are some coaches that are yellers, and there's rah-rah ones. Keith Jackson was telling me this guy was a teacher. I mean, they said they didn't have a huge playbook, but you did things the right way and you acted the right way. And look at those guys, what they were like in high school. Jackson, Chambers, Rouse, and Ricky Williams. You know, they knew they were great athletes, but never once did this man let them know that they were special. And Keith Jackson said later when he went to Oklahoma, Barry Switzer was trying to wonder with all his prima donnas why he was so low maintenance. And he said it went back to his high school coach, because he never let him feel like he was anything special on the football field. And what great men they all turned out to be, and I think in a great part due to this man right here, John Kelly. 34 years of teaching and coaching. Coach Kelly moved into administration, athletic director duties, first at Central, now at Parkview. And I look at him now, he's looking sharp, he's looking young, he could probably go another 10 or 20 years. Well-deserved and maybe overdue. ONEROCK Hall of Famer, John Kelly.
Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel honored and humbled today. There are several people present that I must thank. First, my high school classmate, my wife of 50 years, Clementine Farr Kelly. Will you stand? She sat in the hot sun in September, in the cold rain and snow. Once or twice it sleeted, supported me when I was coaching. I would like to recognize my family members. My youngest brother is present here today. He lives in Memphis, and I called him last night, and he said he was already here. Charles, would you stand and wave your hand? My middle brother, Dr. Manuel Kelly, who's a doctor here in the Pulaski County, and his wife, Charlene. My daughter, Patricia White, and her husband, Frankie. My granddaughter, Simone Walls, and her husband, Xavier. My brother and sister-in-law, Clint and Bobby Sanders. And then I want to recognize former Parkview coaches, Coach Danny Black, Coach Dr. Woody Jolly, Coach Finley is not here, but I see his son, Clarence Jr. is here, and his wife, Letitia Finley. Former Parkview co-worker, Ms. Sandra Carter Williams, and Morgan. And Jesse Gatewood and his wife, Ada. Jesse and I have logged thousands of miles together as college basketball officials all over the country. I'm also thrilled to share this stage with two former Parkview athletes, Jamal Anderson and James Rouse, both of who played football, basketball, and participated in track at Parkview. Jamal, we have 27 football players at Parkview now, but it's 127. My career as a teacher, coach, and athletic director extend, I don't know how it got to be 60 years. It's actually 58 years. They rounded it off. Okay. 52 years in the Little Rock School District, 40 years were at Parkview High School, where I've coached, taught science, and I also worked in 3 other school districts. I worked at Carver High School in Mobile, Arkansas 1 year, Harris High School in Pulaski County Special School District 4 years, and Oak Grove High School in Pulaski County 1 year. I was employed at Dunbar Junior High in 1970 in the Little Rock School District, and I've been in the Little Rock School District ever since. My wife and I were both inducted into the AM&E and UAPB Alumni Hall of Fame in, I believe it was 1913. I was also inducted into the Arkansas Officials Hall of Fame in 2013. 2013. And inducted into the Arkansas Officials Hall of Fame in 2014. The honor of being inducted into ONEROCK, the Little Rock District Hall of Fame, is a crowning moment on 57 years of service, 52 of which have been spent in the Little Rock School District. As I close, may I leave you with these few thoughts, and this is especially to the young athletes that are here. It's amazing how much can be accomplished if no one cares who gets the credit. Success is a journey, not a destination. Success requires more backbone than wishbone. Determination is the difference between victory and defeat. It's not the size of the man in the fight, but the size of the fight in the man that counts. An alibi is like a crutch. It's only meant for the lame and the weak. Victory is sweet, but you can't have it without sweat. If it comes easy, question it. If it comes hard, work for it. If it comes at all, enjoy it, because it's yours. Easy street is always a road to defeat. Luck is what happens when preparation meets what? Opportunity. Enter the game a gentleman, leave the same way. When you are completely satisfied that you played your best game, you probably haven't. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and may God bless us all.
What great support for all our Hall of Famers today. All right, James Rouse, he would have been hard to tackle in any era. Imagine this, 6'2", 220 pounds, could run downhill. Who's going to stand in front of that? Not many people did. One of the best players in the country as a high school player at Parkview was named a Parade All-American. Part of, I think, behind the Pine Bluff team with Shabazz, the second best team ever in the state. And as far as the players who came out of that team, the most dynamic team ever in the state. Springdale had a lot of guys that did well in high school, but they didn't translate that success on the next level. Parkview did. James had instant success in college, 1985 Southwest Conference Newcomer of the Year, 631 yards of offense, 9 touchdowns. Asked Quinn Grovey about him. He said he'd get that herky-jerky move going down there, 230 pounds, and be hard to stop. He remembers a game, I think it was New Mexico or New Mexico State, wasn't feeling well, and they weren't playing well. And James had like 130 yards in the first half and was sick. And he came back in the second half, and Quinn Grovey said they were in trouble. When he saw a big 35 lumber into that huddle, he said knew things were all right. Ended up rushing for 200 yards. But became the first Hog since Ben Cowens in 1987 to rush for 1,000 yards. Cowens did it in 1978. Was part of the most dynamic backfield running the ball ever at the University of Arkansas. Think about this. Quinn Grovey's the quarterback, and when he decides to hand it off, he has Barry Foster at fullback and James Rouse at tailback. Unbelievable. James played a key role in the Hogs' back-to-back Cotton Bowl appearances in 1988 and 89. In the 1990 Cotton Bowl, James rushed for 134 yards. He was voted the all-decade team, was drafted in the 8th round of the 1990 NFL draft, and played in all 16 games as a rookie. One of my favorite people. I want to tell a 6th and goal story. He's out there all the time as the official with the stripes on, and I don't think any of those kids realize who's officiating the game. And I don't know if this team played in the game, but there's one 6th grader. He is wow. I forget his name, little guy. You know his name? What's the little guy's name? But one thing about you get in 6th grade and you're kind of the man and you've never been stopped. Well, on this night, the other team had like a 6-foot 6th grader. Remember that guy? They shut him down. And this kid was so upset after the game. Think about this. First time in his life he's probably been stopped. So I kind of look over to the side, and who is visiting with that young man but James Rouse, giving him some life advice. And you never know who that mentor is going to be in life, whether you're in 5th, 6th, or you're 62 years old, is going to come up to you and give you that, bit of advice to send you in the right direction. But without a doubt, one of my favorite people out there. When he speaks, people listen. So he doesn't speak much, so this should be interesting. ONEROCK Hall of Famer, James Rouse.
Absolutely. I'm not a man of many words, but I do want to thank everyone for coming out today. And Coach Kelly, I didn't know you was that old, 1913. I wasn't born either. John, I'm sorry. I wasn't born when you, in 1913, I wasn't born when you started coaching. So, but like I said, it's truly an honor to be here today to receive the ONEROCK Legend Award. I would also like to congratulate the other honorees as well. I would also like to thank Coach Fitzhill. I have a favorite scripture that I quote sometimes, Fitz, and it said, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighted in his way." And this particular scripture reminds me of you. You've done so much for the Little Rock School District and also for the city of Little Rock, and I really appreciate you for that as well. I want to thank the Superintendent, Michael Poore, and the Little Rock School District for allowing Fitz's vision to come to reality, because without his vision, none of this would be happening today. And I appreciate you guys for allowing it to happen as well. To my coaches, Coach Kelly, I thank you for allowing me to shine on Friday nights. I can say one thing is that Coach Kelly made sure I got my touches. And if I could have bottled him up, and no offense to anyone at the University of Arkansas, but if I could have bottled him up and took him with me to the U of A, I might have been a Heisman Trophy winner. Because this guy would make sure that I received my touches. And then we had a few guys who was backing me up, and they used to get upset that they didn't get a chance to play. But that's because Coach Kelly wouldn't let me out the game. But I really appreciate you, Coach, and all that you've done and did for me as well. I see some of the other Parkview coaches over there. Coach Black, Coach Finley is not here. I see Coach Jolly. You guys have a hand in developing me as well as a player and also as a person, and I really appreciate you guys as well. And every now and then, and I don't know how old Coach Jolly is, Coach Kelly, but he's on Facebook. So are you on Facebook? But every now and then, Coach Jolly would send me a notice just inquiring about my daughter. He actually came out and watched her play a few times, play basketball. So I appreciate you guys as well. I don't see my junior high coaches here, but I did see Coach Foreman at the golf course one day. And I really appreciate him and Coach Search for developing me. They made sure that I was ready for high school football, and I really appreciate them as well. I also appreciate my my Little League coach, which was Coach Carl Henry over in North Little Rock. Some of you probably not remember him, but he was a great mentor and great player as well, great coach as well. Also, too, I'd like to thank Coach Rip, the late Coach Rip. He was probably more than a coach. He was a mentor to many players. In fact, I'm one of the elite people to be called one of Rip's boys. And so Keith Jackson is one of Rip's boys as well. And anyone knows if you're Rip's boy, that anything that you want or ask, and some of the teammates used to come to me and ask me, hey, tell Coach Rip we don't want to do this today. Or tell Coach Rip we did want to do this. And they asked me to go ask him. Of course, Coach Rip would listen, and most of the time he did it. And so I was one of Rip boys as well, as well as Keith. To my teammates as well. I see a couple of men in the room. Big Runny, as we call him. His name is Anthony Chambers. He's my fullback at Parkview. So that's the reason why I never came out the game, because Big Runny was opening up those holes for me, and I was able to run. And also Keith Jackson, as you well know, a lot of you guys know who he is. He's a legend within himself. He's a legend from a standpoint of athletics, and also a legend from a standpoint of reaching out to kids and giving them the opportunity to better themselves and better their lives as well. And I appreciate both of you guys for being in my life, and I couldn't have done it without you guys. Also, I got a couple of calls from a couple other players, Rudy Patrick, Bill Ingram, and Ricky Williams, and Darrell Johnson. Those are some of the guys that we played with as well. They called me, but they couldn't be here today, and I thank them for as well. So let me tell you a quick story here. Long ago in Granite Mountain community, a couple started a family of 3 girls and 3 boys. The mom worked, went to school, completed her education, and then achieved her doctorate. She did all this while shuffling children to and from activities. The dad worked, coached Little League football, and was very active in the community. He's more of a father figure to a lot of people there. But together, this couple instilled in their children the importance of academics, but also athletics as well. But most importantly, God. Because without God, you can't do nothing, but with God, all things are possible. So that couple is my parents. My dad couldn't be here today. He's dealing with Alzheimer's, and he's one of my biggest fans. And I hate that he couldn't be here today, but that's why I'm so emotional, because he played a big role in my life as far as an athlete goes. And I know I'm going to get ridiculed over here by my family. They say I cry on everything, but so you see they're taping, right? So you know it's going to go on Facebook and all that. So I'm already ready prepared for it. But very instrumental in my life. Just hate he couldn't be here today. But my mom is here. And I just want to publicly thank you right now in front of everyone. And I'm going to give you my round of applause, because what you guys did for us, we appreciate it. Also, I'd like to thank my brothers and sisters, Angelita, Tangela, and Felicia, and Gary and Tony. You guys have been there. My number one fans, first of all. You guys have been there with all your support and love, and I appreciate you guys so much. Also, 2 of my children, my daughter Alex and my son Trey. Trey was actually on his way here, but felt really sick, so we just told him to turn back around and go back to school. But he just graduated from the U of A with a 3.9. So I am so excited and proud of my kids. My daughter, she just committed to Bradley University, so she'll be heading off to play basketball this year. And so really, really proud of my kids. But, you know, with all that said, my wife, for over 32 years, and we'll be 33 in June, she's been the backbone of our family. She's been there for me through high school. We was high school sweethearts. So she's seen the good, the bad, and the ugly in the athletics for me through all my injuries and stuff there, and she was always there. And I just want to say thank you as well publicly as well, and I love you as well. As I close, remember that you can do anything you put your mind to. The Little Rock School District gave me an opportunity to excel. I was able to get a degree and play the game that I love. So young kids, take advantage of your life, what life has for you right now. Take advantage of that, whether it's arts, whether it's athletics, or whether it's academics. And just know that there's nothing that you can't do. And thank you, and God bless.
I took a seat, and upon taking a seat, I looked over to my right, and all my Parkview staff that's sitting over there, and I didn't even recognize them at all. Please forgive me. Would you all please stand? Coach Thurman, Coach Bowling, Coach Benbury, Coach Howard, Mr. Stevens, Coach Rivers, and our principal, Ms. Bell. Thank you all for coming.
All right, how about one more hand for our class of 2022? And good luck to Bentonville tonight. All right, when he first came from, was it Bentonville? Yes, sir. Yeah, I was scared. I said, how's a guy from Bentonville going to fit in the can make the same difference. We have got some wonderful coaches in the Little Rock School District, and the programs are growing. I look at the Parkview scholarships. Central's a basketball power. Got Coach Johnson over at Southwest, my man Coach Hobbs. Boy, thank you for all you've done, and we're going to miss you.
Before we close, can I get the Little Rock School District Athletic Foundation Board to come forward for those who are here? I know that a few can't be here. Jay, John, Rob, Terry. And also, hey, this audio, sometimes if you ever had audio difficulties, then you know how challenging that could be. But we got a 5-star guy back here in Roger Robinson. Let's give it up for Big Roger back there on the audio video. As you all know, this is Superintendent's Pour, probably last event, and we're as we said, we hate to see him go, and he's done so much. You know, I remember getting the high school built, and just so many things that we talk a lot. And so, as a way, I want to give each board member, because we have board members 3 times a year, but I just want to give them 30 seconds to a minute to say something about Mike as we close. This is last hit, and then we're going to close. We'll start with you, Coach.
I'll be short. Mr. Poore, you've brought everything to the table. I appreciate everything you've done, not just for me, but the Little Rock School District and the kids. I mean, you kept the kids first, and that's always what it's about, so we appreciate you.
How lucky we've been to have Mr. Poore. What a great program, great coaches, great athletes, great kids. Great program, makes great citizens. Anyway, thank you so much for your help, Mr. Poore.
I've been here about 30 years, and I've seen a whole lot of superintendents come and go. But I certainly appreciate your engagement. The work that he's done is profound, the building, and we have to continue the momentum of the programs we have in place. So thank you.
I get to wrangle these guys. Thank you so much for your leadership and for including me on this board, and I just appreciate all your support in helping us build a foundation for the kids here in Little Rock.
And you see everything here out here. Let's give a round of applause to Terry. She's at Dillard's. Dillard's is one of our major sponsors. Bill III really supports, and I want to mention Arvest Bank as a cornerstone sponsor, Arkansas Business, Ace Sports, Curtis Stout, First Security Bank, U.S. Bank, the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, Rick Massey, all those people allow for us to be able to do what we're doing today. We want to say thank you. And even though Mike doesn't know that, he's going to be inducted into the ONEROCK Legend as administrator of our first one because of what he's done. And so he gets a chance to have one of these rocks made to take with him. Michael, you come accept this one rock for Mr. Poor.
Hey, we have a lot to go do, folks, and I'm so proud. And I am with this group of people as a part of the class, so that makes it even more special. Thank you all for being here today. This is a very important thing for our district, and God bless you all, and have a good rest of the day.
You are dismissed. We went overtime for 10 minutes. I'm sorry, but we'll make it up somehow. If you need a tardy slip to get in class, come over here. Mike will write you up one to get back in. Appreciate you, Bobby. Appreciate you, man.